Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with Game 3 of the MSL Finals. Flash versus Jaedong, the Battle of the Titans. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. And it's not just because that was a recent movie, Clash of the Titans. Although, actually, that wasn't a recent movie as much. It was an old movie. I watched the old version, but I haven't watched the new version yet. Old version was pretty sweet. Regardless, we are not going to see any stop-motion animation here. We're going to see two of the best StarCraft players in the world. Two players that have honed their StarCraft skills, that have pimped this game to its extent, playing against each other in Game 3. And Flash is back with a vengeance, an absolute vengeance. After losing the last 3 games in the series, he was actually up 2-0 against Effort. He was in this exact same position. Right now he's up 2-0 against Jaedong. He was in this exact same position against Effort and could not pull off the win. Lost the last 3 games in a row for the lose, and missed out on the Golden Mouse and his opportunity to win both Star League titles in the same season, which I believe has only been done once before ever by Nada in like 03 or something like that, or 02. Anyway, but yes, we have match point here, which has some history. Flash, when he was really dominant, he lost one of his first games versus Zerg in like years on this map. This is also the same map that he lost Game 5 to Effort on. So this is his chance to come back, and he's actually going to do the same build that he lost Effort on in the same position on the same map. We're going to see if Jaedong can maybe put on the same pressure that Effort did and try and fight his way back into the series.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm still reeling from watching Flash's performance in the previous game, in Game 2. I just found that Valkyrie build that he used. Now, I haven't watched a lot of StarCraft this season, so maybe he's used it before, but I thought it was a brilliant build, the way he used the Valkyries to allow himself to not build any turrets, and therefore was able to push out earlier with the Medic and Marines and put pressure on that second expansion on the 4th hatchery and take it down and really put Jaedong under the cosh. Jaedong looks like he's gone for another 12 hatch, I think. Flash has put that supply depot down. Don't see any barracks going down, so we are indeed probably going to see a 14cc from him here again. And I think the interesting thing that I find about it is that Jaedong has not showed any aggression in this game so far against Flash. Flash has been the one who's done any aggression, if at all. Flash with a scout now is just going to spot that hatchery of Jaedong's, and looks like he just pulled that SCV. Camera change there. I thought he was looking different. It looks like he's getting ready to start his command center. He is indeed. He does put down the 14cc. But I think that's what it took from Effort. Effort realized that he couldn't keep going toe-to-toe with Flash's expansionistic play and had to put pressure on him. And when he started doing that, Flash seemed to rattle and buckle under the pressure, and Effort was able to come out with the win. Jaedong, in the first 2 games, has declined to put any pressure on Flash. In the first game, he had the build to put the pressure on Flash, but decided not to pump out the Mutalisk and decided to try and expand out. And it just seems to be that if you let Flash get unharassed into the mid-late game, he just becomes so much more devastating, and that's really his strength. So I don't understand why you would play to your opponent's strength, I guess, unless you feel that your own strength is stronger. Jaedong putting that 3rd hatchery down after his spawning pool. Jaedong, in the second game, went for a triple hatchery build and allowed Flash to completely go uncontested with that 14cc. Did get the Mutalisk out to try and do the harass, but Flash countered it brilliantly. And again, I think if you're going to try and put pressure on Flash, you've got to do it a little bit earlier than that, and Jaedong just wasn't able to put any pressure on Flash whatsoever, and Flash surprised Jaedong with his tactics and was just able to roll Jaedong down. So far, Flash has coped admirably, and I think tactically, you might argue that Jaedong is playing a little bit to Flash's strengths.
Yeah, I think he might be. Flash's strength is, he's known especially for being crazy at his macro. Jaedong, of course, obviously a very good macro player as well, and as you said in one of the previous games, Jaedong probably one of the few players in the game that could match Flash on a macro scale and actually go toe-to-toe with him in that sense. And Jaedong has actually gone for a Hydralisk Den. He went 12 hatch pool, so he didn't go for the 3 hatch build. He didn't do the drone scout and find the CC early. And by the way, I do like the addition that Flash has made to this build where he scouts with the SCV and checks for the 12 hatch before building the command center. I just noticed that before as well. But yeah, so Jaedong didn't scout it as quickly this time. Had to go for the pool first. So he didn't get as much economy there, but he was able to drive out the scout earlier. He drove out the SV scout earlier, and as such, he can go for this Hydros Den early and try and go for a lurker rush of some kind. By the way, just for the record, Flash has done the Valkyrie build a few times before, For most of the season, well, for the beginning of the season, he was still doing 1 racks and a CC every game, and lately he's been trying to branch out a little bit and do some different things with mech and Valkyries and that kind of thing. Is the scout going to get in? The Zerglings are chasing the SCV. Has a couple hits left on it. He's going to try and get in there. Is he going to be able to get past? No, he's going to get blocked, denied. He's not going to be able to get in there and see that den. After all, the SCV dies. That was close. If he'd seen that den, it would have been over for Jaedong. Anyway, Flash, it looks like he's going for a similar build. Let's see, he's got a Vulture out this time, and a little bit later, no, he's not even getting Starport. He's going for Goliaths, it looks like this time. So this is really unfortunate for Jaedong. If Flash had gone for the Valkyrie build again, I think Jaedong would have been in a perfect position. But he's just gone for Vultures instead, so he's going to be able to get out Goliaths, which are pretty decent against lurkers, and he's going to be able to get out tanks quicker as well, assuming he can get some kind of detection in time. But is he going to... He spots the Hydralisk. And of course, he may have just gotten the den. Never mind. I was going to say he may have gotten the den just in response to seeing that mech. But I don't think he'd even seen the mech yet, so I'm not sure what was going on there. Anyway, either way, Jaedong now is invested in this Hydralisk build. He doesn't have a Spire building, so this is going to be very interesting to see how this works out. And he's got a lot of Hydralisk. I just realized he doesn't even have a lair. I can't believe I didn't see that before. I completely apologize. Didn't even see that. Jaedong is going for a rush build. He's just going to try and go all in off 3 hatcheries, basically, and do a 3-hatch Hydra build and try and break Flash early. Flash building a second bunker at his natural expansion and trying to hold this off. I don't know if he's going to have enough forces there. The Hydralisks are almost arrived.
Yeah, this is crazy by Jaedong. But Flash has got that hole blocked. He's got a couple of... He's pulled all the SCVs out there to repair as well off his natural expo. He's also got a couple of Goliaths in there. Jaedong now coming in. Looks like he's firing straight for the bunker, and Flash with tons of SCVs repairing. And I'm not sure if Jaedong is going to be able to break this down despite all the repairing. And even if he does break this down, there's going to be a second, and the bunker is fully repaired. Jaedong's attack looks like it might actually be failing. A couple of Lings get in, managed to snipe one of the Goliaths in, and Jaedong should have been, I think, going for the break rather than going for the bunker, which was easier to repair. He should have done that so that he could have forced those Hydralisk through, but now Flash has got the tank out as well. I'm sure he'll be researching siege mode. Jaedong needs to get some more reinforcements in there. He's managed to kill a couple of buildings, and he needs to kill some SCVs to at least do some damage to Jaedong's economy, to Flash's economy, but he hasn't really done much, and now the siege mode is in, and that's it. That's the end of the attack as far as I'm concerned, because once the siege mode is up, Jaedong isn't going to be able to break through, and Flashman, and Jaedong is actually going to get those Hydralisks within range of the siege tank. If he can take the siege tank down, that might give him a chance. He manages to snipe the siege tank. That was absolutely critical. He managed to snipe the siege tank through that door that was open, but now Flash has built a building in the way, so Jaedong's not going to be able to pull that maneuver off again, and I think Flash is probably going to secure the game now. He's got 2 factories there, he's got siege mode, he's got a decent enough economy going. Jaedong might snipe another supply depot, but I think Flash has held enough, and once the tank with siege mode is there, I'm not sure if Jaedong can come back now.
Wow. I cannot believe that he was trying to go for that bunker. I don't know why he was trying to do that. Even if he got the bunker, there was a second bunker there. He was hammering away at the bunker, doing basically his window of attack. He spent his entire window of advantage making Flash repair, and he wasn't actually killing. Imagine if he just picked off those SCVs. It would have taken the same amount of time. He would have killed each of those SCVs. There's no way he could have repaired the SCVs. He's not that good. Well, I mean, they just fire too fast. He would have killed off all those SCVs, and then Jaedong would have been a real advantage. But instead, he went for the all-in. He went for the break. He went for the bunker, and it just did not pay off. Flash had spotted it and surrounded that bunker with SCVs beforehand, put a bunch of stuff in the way, and it just did not work. And so now Flash, with siege tanks sieging up behind his line, he's now got 3 siege tanks in play. That is going to be more than enough to stop massive amounts of Hydralisks, especially with this wall in the way. He's going in for one last attack. He's going in after the bunker. Not as many SCVs on the bunker. He does manage to kill one of the bunkers this time, but he's nowhere near killing the 2 tanks in the back. They're absolutely tearing his Hydralisk army to shreds. Blood everywhere, just a massive pool of Hydralisk guts and blood on the ground in front of that bunker, in front of that wall rather. The bunkers did go down, but Flash is relatively unscathed, and Jaedong is all in on this build. He's going to have maybe one more shot at pushing in here before Flash gets a couple siege tanks out, and then it will just be over. There will be no way he can break in there. A 3rd siege tank is out. He's going to be able to go in. He needs to try and pick off one of those tanks, but he's too far away. He can't attack the tank. Too many forces there. 3 tanks obliterate that army of Hydralisks. I don't know if there's any way that Jaedong can do anything now. Flash, even at +1 weapons on those tanks, doing massive amounts of splash damage to those clumps of Hydralisks.
Yeah, that's over. Flash is the champion, and he's outplayed Jaedong in this series. He really has, and I'm going to definitely say that Flash is now the champion at 3-0. So he's taken the revenge for last season's MSL, and at least he'll have this as a consolation, despite not being able to take that OSL and the MSL. Who knows, maybe he'll get another shot next season, though, to be able to make it to both finals yet again. That would be some feat. And it'll be interesting to see whether Flash can manage that or not. But I've got to say that Jaedong, I think he's made a couple of fundamental errors. One you pointed out in terms of trying to take that bunker down. I mean, if he was going to try and go for the break, why didn't he take the supply depot down first? Because Flash wouldn't have been able to get as good a surround on it in terms of repairing it. Whereas with that bunker, Flash was able to get SCVs out on 3 sides of it at least, if not 4. It just made it so much easier to repair. And he had a second one waiting anyway. And yeah, he could have started out with the attack of the bunker to lure the SCVs and then just switched to almost an A move or something, just try and do as much damage as he could to Flash's economy, while maybe putting a handful of Hydras to take out the supply depot. And if he'd done that, he would have done a lot more damage and opened up a path for himself. And I think he might have been able to effect some significant damage. As it stood, he didn't go for that. I think the other thing I'm wondering is whether he could have put a sunken down at his natural expo and in order to thwart that early vulture, and I know that would have cost him some resources. And wow, Flash just runs around with the Goliaths and fires off a barrage of missiles, sniping one Overlord. Second Overlord just manages to skate away, but it's just a matter of time now. Because this is the last game, Jaedong doesn't want to surrender, hopelessly building a couple of expansions at the 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock positions, but Flash is just going to roll out now with his mech army and just wander through this terrain and just lay waste to Jaedong's forces. But yeah, I wonder if he'd put that sunken up, he could have perhaps denied Flash that scouting information for that first vulture and gotten a little bit more of a surprise attack with the Hydralisk, and Flash perhaps might not have been as well prepared, and Jaedong's break would have been more successful. Because I think if you're going to go for this sort of build, you really want to delay the information to the opponent for as long as possible and deny them that intelligence. And Jaedong didn't really make an effort to do that. He was happy to sit that one Hydralisk out at the front, and the moment Flash saw that, he started getting that second bunker up and he got his units in play in time.
Yeah, Flash just spotted it coming and was way too prepared, and Jaedong also, I think, didn't play that correctly. So now Jaedong trying to play catch up here, like you said, getting a couple extra bases up, kind of like what Stork does when he falls behind. He just tries to double expand and catch up that way and hope the other player doesn't attack him. Doesn't work very often, and it never works against Flash. Flash putting in here with a good clump of siege tanks surrounded by Goliath, so he can't even do a switch to Mutas, although he doesn't have a Spire regardless. A lot of Hydralisks are there, though. If he can pick off those tanks, he might be able to fare well against these Goliaths. He picks off all but one of the tanks. One tank is too far back, but he might not have enough Hydralisks to push in here. More reinforcements coming in. Some Overlord taking some shots from that Goliath, but there's just not enough Hydralisks there, and just a few Goliaths survive, though. If he gets another round of Hydralisks out from all of his hatcheries at once, he may be able to hold this off, but in the meantime, Vultures have completely stopped his third base, so Jaedong still at just 3 bases. I'm sorry, his 4th base, so Jaedong at 3 bases now. Flash feeling victory within his grasp. Seeing that he's going to win this game, you can see him smiling there. He is about to get his revenge on the OSL finals, get his revenge on the MSL finals from last season. Flash is about to take an MSL away from Jaedong. Jaedong knows it as well. You can see it on his face. He's bringing out the drones just for one final attempt. Here he comes in. Flash is so excited. He's taking his hands off the keyboard, which pro gamers never do, to clasp his hands in joy. He knows he has this clinched, and he is just heaving a huge sigh of happiness and relief. There's GG. Flash pumping his fists in the air, laughing with joy. Oh man, and you have got to feel for that kid right now. I am so happy for him as well. I mean, he has such a reason to be happy. Even after his loss, I think his loss last week in the OSL finals makes this even sweeter. And not just that, but taking 3-0, at the very least, no one can say that Flash is not at the top of his game. And I think he's just proven that losing to Effort was a kind of a fluke, and he still has it.
Yeah, masterful performance from Flash. Even though it wasn't the kind of epic back and forth series that we hoped it would be, I think each game in itself was a demonstration of really skillful play by Flash. And each time he's played, and Jaedong in absolute pieces. Oh my God, pumping the mouse. He is in pieces. Wow, that is sad. But jubilation for Flash and his teammates. And well, I think Jaedong only has himself to blame. I think he made errors in each of those games. Flash capitalized, and Flash played brilliantly. He played at his peak. But I don't think Flash's strategies or builds were entirely foolproof. I think Jaedong played a little bit into his hands, and I think Jaedong has no one but himself to blame. But I think what this victory says most above all to me is that it really puts it really gives the big middle finger, and in fact 2 big middle fingers from each hand, to all the people who were suggesting that Flash threw those games against effort because of the scandal that has followed. And to me, that is the saddest part of that scandal. Not so much so that Savior let me down or anything else, but the fact that good, honest players like Flash are being called unfairly into disrepute for not having done anything wrong. And I think that's the tragedy, and I think that's the great betrayal of the players who did participate. Not so much that they betrayed the fans, but that they betrayed their peers. And that's the tragedy of it. I mean, Bisu's 3-0 win, I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent here on Flash's MSL victory, but Bisu's 3-0 win against Savior, some people were calling that into question. I think that's wrong.